Welcome to the Critical Therapy Antidote podcast.
Welcome to our podcast. Today you will hear from Ellie, a mother speaking from a place of deep distress and heartbreak. Her story reflects what many parents around the world are facing: vulnerable children, complex mental health challenges, and systems that fail to provide us with the support we need. Ellie's daughter struggled with behavioral difficulties at school and reported being bullied. Over time, questions around gender identity emerged, and disagreements developed between Ellie and her husband and the treatment team. These tensions ultimately led to a devastating outcome: the loss of contact between parents and their child. This is not an easy episode. You will hear confusion, desperation, and the pain of a parent who feels unheard. We ask you to stay with it, not because there are simple answers, but because listening is how understanding begins. Ellie's story gives voice to families who feel powerless in situations that shape their children's lives. If you value conversations like this and support our mission, please like, subscribe, and share our podcast. Your support helps us continue bringing forward stories that need to be heard. Now, let's begin Ellie's story. Hello, this is the CTA podcast. I am Jaco with my co-host Christine Sefein-Wolk. Hi, Christine. It's good to be back after a bit of a hiatus. It's nice to see you on the screen again.
Yes, good to be with you too. It's been a while. Glad
It's been a while.
Reconnect and reunite.
Thank you. So about a year ago, you and I had a series of interviews with parents and one spouse, one wife, former wife, who had experiences with children and with this one person, a husband, who got involved with this transgender frenzy. And we called this series Parents Who Survived the Gender Cult.
Yes.
Now, today we are going to have another interview with someone who's right in the middle, as she calls it, right in the middle of a crucifixion. Because of the sensitivity of the issue, we anonymized her, and we will be calling her Ellie, and that is why her face is also blurred. So our guest today is Ellie. Ellie, thank you for joining us. And I can't say I'm happy to meet you, because we're meeting under very dubious circumstances.
Yes.
But thank you for joining us, and thank you for your willingness to share your story with us.
Thank you very much, my dear new friends. Thank you, everybody who knows me already through other multiple podcasts, in my Substack, my posts on X and Facebook. Again, I am a pseudonymed. You're welcome to ask me questions.
Absolutely. So, how about you start right at the beginning? Where did your journey start with this gender frenzy that we see many young people are being caught up in?
Thank you very much for this navigation. The more I learn about it, the more I figure out that this is a transcript, and our story maybe not is different from other parents whose children got sucked into this horrible cult. But the story is different in our origin. We come from, we are legal immigrants from a country called Ukraine, which is Eastern Europe. And we came for a bright future after having lived for 70 years in the USSR, socialism. Our country is young republic, which is now fighting for its existence. And we survived the hungry 90s. We survived no food, having go to the street and sell our personal belongings. It's my husband's family history. And so it's natural that a young IT software engineer professional that graduated from, Ukrainian Institute with flying colors, I'm sorry, that
Flying
he
colors,
wanted
yeah.
to, yes, go to the only country that was as an option at the time, the beginning of the 2000s to go to America and sell his head, his brain, his talents, built a family with somebody like me. We met in Kiev, and I'm a linguist and an artist and a poet and singer. So we started building our bright future in America. We landed in Massachusetts. We didn't know the names Blue Red State, just nothing was showing like that, and we had some difficulties of the green card and some immigration hindrance, but we overcame that with a sense of humor, with our Ukrainian spirit. It wasn't easy. We came with 2 bags, $700, and high hopes for building an American dream wrapped up in Ukrainian culture, spirit, a great experience with knowing how to survive. And that's what we thought we were doing. Our beautiful girl was born in Kiev.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Question? Yeah.
How many years ago did you move to America?
It was 2007.
2007.
We came as H-1B visa holders. In fact, I was H-4 because I'm a spouse, and this is a quite discriminating visa because I could not work, and that was a little disheartening. Still, we were paving our road with hopes and never enjoying any benefits from the government, paying taxes from day one, always being law-abiding citizens. Eventually, we got naturalized in 2016, and at that time, our daughter, who went to kindergarten and then eventually the grade 1 and 2, she started to be bullied, both by students, unaddressed by educators, and unaddressed by the principal. To cut a long story short, it's a very spiky, thorny road with bullying and our never abandoning her, our always defending, protecting her, even filing a private lawsuit in Massachusetts. But that's the first time we encountered school mafia, and they all gathered around us, punishing us. It was a horrible journey, and we thought that was nightmare. But it was nothing like that, and it went really offhand before COVID, because I delivered our daughter's, sibling, a boy who she was waiting for very, very much. She was rejoicing and happy, but at that time she was bullied, and I was pregnant. It was a lot of stress for this young girl who really had hard time, making some, girlfriend connection. She never was a tomboy. She wasn't a tomboy. She was a hyperactive girl that was penalized for her being hyperactive. Still, teachers don't like inconvenient, bright, outstanding students because they are disruptive, because they are impulsive, because they are talented, noisy, loud, and off standard. They prefer to be, on medication. So it was a lot to this young soul and body to grasp that bullying and being pulled out of a school district. We had to run away to another district, and the districts worked in cahoots. So our daughter became...
Sorry, Ellie.
Yes,
a lot of disruption.
Yes.
A lot of disruption. How young was your daughter when you came over from Kiev?
28 days. So
So
basically,
she
she
was
lived in the
very,
United
very
States.
small.
Yes. Yeah, we didn't have
Okay.
insurance, and I had to go back. We didn't want to cheat. Like some people told me, in California, you can deliver without insurance. Right now, I know about it. But that was the year 2007, 2008, and they just showed me the door. We had some insurance issues we were a young family, and we decided not to cheat. And I went to Kiev to deliver our baby girl. And then
see.
we didn't want to go to be parted from daddy, and we reunited on the day when Obama was elected. Can you believe the irony of fate?
Okay.
November 4th,
Yeah.
2008.
2008. And your boy was born when she was how old?
She was 9 in the midst of our changing districts, running from one district to another, surviving surveillance by police ordered by that school district. So imagine.
Sure.
At some point, I took the children and went on a family trip to Ukraine because she was getting out of control. We could not stand resource officers, as they're called in Massachusetts, like, those police officers that work with school. She was unsafe, didn't want to go on the bus. She was playing with them and they were playing with her. They were like continuing to penalize her for being hyperactive and us for raising our voices against the neighboring district. So my boy was around 20 months old. My husband got a new job that forced him to travel, and I just could not take that police DCF involvement. And I took the kids. We left for Ukraine, and she was thriving there.
How did DCFS? So DCFS is the Department of Family and Child Services here in California. And so they sort of step in if they feel that there's something that the parents are doing that is abusive in their eyes. How did DCFS get involved, and why did they get involved? Your family with your daughter.
A DCF in Massachusetts had to be called when she was, for instance, she was transported to a mental health facility for homicidal and suicidal ideations at some point, and they only touched base with you. We did not get really penalized. I took the kids. We went to Ukraine. She was thriving. She was like a normal kid. Like I was growing up on the yard in the street. She went to a private school we paid for. She was making friends, but then COVID locked us.
How old was she? 12.
9, 10. She was entering into her puberty very abrupt, She is a very beautiful model-like body of 5'7", like me. She's even taller than me, blonde, beautiful girl with thick hair, beautiful. I'm proud of her. She needed connections, interactions, and she went on Discord and started talking. I did not know anything about predators, anything about grooming. I didn't know that word. To cut a long story short, we really wanted to reunite with Daddy, who remained in Massachusetts, but he found another job remotely in San Francisco. And when borders reopened, we relocated to Bay Area because that's where we
And
decided.
that's in California, just for our guests.
To give America another chance, though I didn't want to go back, but we made a compromise to sell our condo in Massachusetts. It was just, I'm flipping through this, but it had to be lived through. And, he had to pay for all of that. And the baby was just, transported from country to country. So we rented for 19 months in Bay Area, but it was very expensive. Again, she was walking on the street. She was making friends. The COVID was like fading away. And we went on Zillow. We found this beautiful villa house in Redding, California, Shasta County, where we successfully moved. We liked the home. We looked at it, surrounded by mountains, rural area, beautiful. You thought you found peace.
While you were talking like that, I could tell that you had a vision, and that as a family, it felt like you were flourishing.
Yes.
Okay.
She was no longer that. She had some autoaggression, perhaps, and she was wreaking that upon us. At all times, after that, those traumas began developing and, unwinding and erupting. She was transported to a mental health facility for evaluation for 11 days, and she ended up with MDD, anxiety
which is
disorder.
major depressive disorders, what they diagnosed her with, and generalized anxiety disorder. And this happened when you were in
19. Then we went through a horrible phone fire without having the chance to unbox after closing the deal in Redding. It was an arson. So that added a lot of stress. And she also had a I don't know, this girl was born unlucky or lucky, but she had an accident at school where her head was injured in Redding, Shasta Lake City, when daddy was unloading her from our car, and another parent hit our car without looking back, without, started backing off. Our daughter was getting out of the passenger door, so her head and her shin was involved. Suspicious trends began in her behavior. I want to say that she was digging into psychology, because what you suffer, then you want to know, what happened, what's wrong with you or with those people who bullied you. So she started being interested in psychology, and she asked at that time, during and after that phone fire, she asked me to find a referral for a psychologist to get tested for ADHD, which could be the cause she was penalized back in Massachusetts school. And she was confirmed with ADHD. Not only, she was confirmed to have ODD, and at some point, borderline personality disorder, which they don't usually give teens at 14, but they did, because she showed so many, I think 9 or 8 out of 9 criteria,
Symptoms.
which we did, yes, with a Reading psychologist. So that was the year before the war started. And we noticed that gradually from the 2022, her haircuts became shorter. She came up with a name, like a unisex name. She wasn't forcing any male pronouns. We speak only our native languages to our children from the day they were born, which is Russian and Ukrainian. And that's critical, because the languages are very hypersensitive in verbal endings. So if to say, for instance, did you eat, my dear, it's the endings of the verb, they show that it's either female or male.
Yeah.
So she
So it's
asked,
gendered. It's a gendered language.
and we have 3 genders.
Many
I hate
are.
the word gender so bad, but it's what it is.
Linguistic
Russian,
gender versus social gender these days.
Correct. We have 3, including an neutral, which has nothing to do with English, it, but CPS in Redding, California, they accused us of calling her it, which is again a transcript by the cult.
Okay,
So,
before we go on, before we
yes.
continue, so I hear a lot of disruption. I hear a lot of disruption, right?
Yes.
From moving to America, temporarily moving back to Kiev to give birth to your daughter.
Yeah.
After that, reuniting with daddy. All the difficulties settling in. You were on an H4 visa. You couldn't work that time. All those complications. Administrative complications, and with administrative complications, also emotional difficulties. It's emotionally very trying to immigrate. I'm speaking from experience. And then your daughter grew up and she started encountering difficulties at school, bullying. And I can tell that those were precarious times where I get the sense that you and the bureaucracy at school and the teachers, you were not getting along very, very well, right?
I tried to really
by all means
for them.
By all means. And then when she was 9 years old, your boy was born.
Yes.
So she'd already had this difficult social history.
Yes.
And she gradually also started to develop behavioral difficulties, such that she was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. ODD is oppositional defiant disorder.
Yes.
And there is a strong element of rule breaking, of defiance, of anger and aggression.
Negativity, yes.
And negativity, right? And then also, many of these kids are bright kids.
Yes.
Hence her ADHD too. So attention deficit
100%.
hyperactivity disorder.
Very bright, very talented.
Okay. But emotionally difficult to regulate and immature, right? And so she got these diagnoses, and then in 2022, that means that she must have been 11 years old.
She was born
12.
2008. So,
End of
no, it's
2008.
13, 14.
13, 14. Okay,
Okay.
13,
Early
14. So,
adolescence.
oh, and you also said she had early onset puberty.
Puberty, yes.
At 10, she had her first
Yes.
period. Yes.
Yes.
That's quite
very early.
That is quite early, and girls find early puberty harder than later
Mhm.
puberty. Okay,
Mhm.
with boys it's the other way around.
Yes.
Boys prefer early puberty to later puberty. Late bloomers, that's a difficulty for boys. Okay,
Probably me.
so and then you said in 2022 she started showing strange behaviors such as shortening her hair and picking a different name, right?
Yes, and at the end of the 2022 critical milestone, she was asking to find a psychiatrist in Reading. She allegedly dug some information that lithium can help her combat her extreme negativity, being on edge with the family, because she wished me death. She called me. She bullied daddy and little brother for even 5+ years. That we actually voiced over to CPS when they were removing her. So we lived in basically nightmare all these years, trying to accommodate her, trying to make her happy. Yet it wasn't helpful. And she admitted that when she was asking for that lithium thing, that it's not our fault, it's her fault, it's her negativity, her aggression, and she lacks social skills. She sometimes doesn't know how to even answer questions from peers in school. So we removed her from a public school after that accident I mentioned involving her head, because the principal of that school never even came out to talk to me when they actually, her vice principal called 911. She never touched base with us. She never said sorry. She communicated via counselor. And they gave us a list of local charter schools and ended up in Phoenix Charter, where all this started. But at the same time, or maybe they just got connected, she found this maybe code word. Mama, I want to be prescribed lithium. She probably wanted a magic pill. So that's a lot of threads that show that the cult is interconnected in both medical mental professionals and schools. Mama did everything to bring her to the psychiatrist because there was a well-child visit. And coincidentally, they said, we have a new psychiatrist. She's so good. Let us send a referral to see you. And that was the turning point.
Okay, before we go on, lithium is a mood stabilizer.
Lithium is a very heavy, drug for her swings of mood that were really blatant and horrible. Yes, she wanted to cure them with magic pill.
And so her desire to see the psychiatrist, how did you feel about that as a parent? Was that something that you supported, or was it something that you had difficulty with? Were you in support of her going down that road?
For these 20 months, I've been tormenting myself with that guilt feeling that I was too trustworthy, gullible for so much wanting to make her finally happy, that when these doctors from Mercy Family Health Center from Reading, who later self-referred to this mental health clinic, Children's Legacy Center, who self-referred herself, that she was open to prescribe lithium right from the start, who was ready to give her any diagnosis she wants. So liberal. But the previous ones, got really discouraged their profile with, acting not the way my daughter wanted. Sometimes they just listen to the child saying blah, 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 and calling DCF. That's what we went through in Massachusetts. So I so much wanted to find somebody who I thought that would make her happy. And it seemed
part of what the importance of the treatment when children or adolescents go for treatment is that they want to also build a relationship with the parent or the legal guardian, the people who are the caretakers. And it sounds like in this situation, Ellie, they weren't trying to build a relationship with you and include you in her treatment. It seems as though they were treating her without creating a relationship to where you could also be involved as the parents to figure out what's really happening with her. Is that
What
correct?
happened is that we had in Mercy, where she actually is employed as a, the official psychiatrist. We saw her for 2 appointments, and then when she self-referred to this new trauma specializing, specialized mental health clinic, CLC, which is very, very suspicious, and it's changed names, changed directors. It looked so brand new, like gilded bracelets of their front desk, changing 3 directors in 1 year. At that point, it seemed so hoping that this doctor would help my daughter. And there she saw us for 3 appointments, and then they both kicked me out of office.
Okay.
And I listened. Now I regret, but I so much was afraid to be dealing with DCF again, for being like a non-cooperative parent. I so much wished my daughter happiness, that I trusted this charlatan in white gown, that I got myself kicked out of the office, and there the LGBTQ plus grooming started.
So why did
Okay.
they kick you out?
My daughter, it was my daughter. She said, "Mama, can you step out?"
I see.
I honored that. And as I was on the threshold, like closing the door, I heard my daughter say to doctors, "Do you help with LGBTQ?" And doctor said, "Yes, of course I do." But you know what? I did not suspect anything. And at that point, she already prescribed her lithium, Zoloft. It was 2023. It was mood. So she, in March or April, when they closed the door behind my back, coincidentally, my daughter confessed to me that she went on an LGBTQ plus server on Discord that she was all the time in. She found somebody called Mark, very feminine boy. She was very cordially received on that server. Again, I did not suspect anything, because when she played Minecraft and Roblox with him, I think there was another team. I only was able to figure out who that was after during the removal. I so much wanted her to be happy. You know what I mean? That I did not suspect anything, and I did accommodate her. I did buy her binders. She paid for themselves.
Binders for her breasts?
Yes, I am
Okay.
guilty.
Oh,
That's the year of 2023 when heavy duty grooming was
40.
there with Marquis Moo. That's his Discord nickname. 2023, so that's 14, entering into 15. The grooming was gradual. We did not suspect anything. Redding, Shasta County is very red. It's a blue state, but it's such a red area that not a rainbow flag was spotted, or I just did not notice those things. I did shop in TJ Maxx and Ross Mail departments. At that point, I accommodated, but I did not affirm her. In home, we still, and even right now, even after 20 months of CPS custody and foster care grooming, we still call her, well, she's not talking to us, but we still call her pet name. We called her from the day she was born. Only publicly, I was accommodating her, for instance, at Mercy, like the nurse comes out, says, her legal female name. I say, well, this child wants to be called blah, blah, blah. Still, the year of 2024, the estrangement got so heavy that she stopped talking to the entire family. She slammed the door and never said thank you when I was driving her to both college and her school Phoenix charter. She was isolating in her room. However, she tried to split me and Daddy in the late April 2024, beginning of May, when she tried to talk separately to both of us to sign testosterone consent and talk us into the double mastectomy. I never heard the name gender dysphoria, but she was already saying that. And not seeing our response, we say, no, we're not signing that. We want you to make an informed decision, grow up till 18. And she broke down, and beginning of, well, she completely cut us off the late May, and we had a very heartbroken appointment at office, she was treating me for anxiety. So basically, I entrusted my own mental health and my daughter's mental health to this white gown, and apparently they filed May 28th or 29th. And during vacation, June 3rd, a social worker with no due process, no warrant, no Ellie officer, no badge ID, hiding her car behind the leafage in our rural area where we live, snatched her barefoot. And
So
she
what was the purpose of them getting involved if you were already accommodating her? It sounds like you were accommodating her desire to transition in the sense that you were purchasing the clothing and you were doing some things. Maybe you're not providing the puberty or the testosterone, the hormones, but you were accommodating her in other ways. So what was the reasoning behind them stepping in, the Department of Family and Child Services, and taking her away? Why did they do that if you were already accommodating her?
Because when she tried to, split talking to us, we made it clear that we are aware. We know what your problem is. You're looking for yourself. You're self-rejecting. I don't have to be this, expensive psychiatrist who did the forensics later, who charges $900 an hour to tell exactly what I knew in May 2024, that she has an identity problem. She has BPD. That's a serious one, and she got confirmed. So I clearly am not signing any hormonal therapy consents, and I am against her, hysterectomy, whatever she wanted to do with herself, and probably told her that, hey, if your parents don't want to affirm you, the cult will be your mama. That's the only thing that foster care mom can sign this. And they took her. And this social worker Nelson, who came acting like a Gestapo, like an SS Nazi, immediately starting accusing us on the terrace, provoking physical abuse from my husband, who I asked to do the most talking because I tried to cover up my 7-year-old who got extremely scared, who is extremely traumatized. So that's like a farce drama recorded on on that everybody lied about. The sheriff came. The sheriff announced me this male name on the terrace that apparently I saw from the records that months ago in the court, Sager was withholding my own. And I saw that she called her this male name starting February 2024. I found out about this double life, this double name, triple name life, only from the LE officer who is extremely corrupt and who lied about me in his sheriff report in November. So it's such a horrible Shasta County mafia you have no clue about we right now are facing, and who are trying to destroy within these 20 months of horrible discrimination, humiliation, trampling of all possible constitutional, parental, educational rights, because my daughter intentionally went to live in a foster care of her classmate's mother, Maggie Kenefick, and Walter Albert, who is a Columbia District School member, because she called me the second day and asked for her electronics, which she left unlocked. CPS came early. She did not even expect them to come that soon, that she went barefoot. She left all her electronics behind. And the Discord communication with this Markim, with the groomer, we learned it was, like ongoing. And it was clearly giving instructions how to better file emotional abuse report, which they did. He did mention, she did mention the psychiatrist. He did mention how to better, basically dig a coffin, a grave for your parents. And that's what she did. That's what they did. So right now, she left virgin. Right now, there's a suspicion that she is either due with her pregnancy or she had an abortion because she shared a room with these people's classmate that's probably started all in school, because this is a glitter foster care business in the school whose principal is cronies with the school board member, caretaker of the district that finances the same school. They're all working in foster care.
Hang on. There's a lot of chaos going on.
It's a lot.
There's a lot of chaos going on. And what I hear is a lot of suspicion and distrust and unfortunately also sounds to me like systemic alienation. Or maybe I should just mention something about this. Look, where it comes to child and family issues and custody, and especially these severe cases, the aim of a clinic is to try and reduce the reasons for chaos and to work towards
Yes.
integration and reconciliation. Okay.
Yes. For unification.
So there might be, and unification. There might be issues with violence, with, behavioral issues.
Yes.
And there might be inpatient treatment, even medical treatment, psychotropic medication, like what she was put on. Zoloft, which is an SSRI, is an antidepressant.
Yes.
And then lithium is a mood stabilizer, which is interesting. She's very young for lithium. I would have thought.
Switched to Seroquel a little later, 4 months later, because it's heavy.
Yeah.
It made her drowsy. So Sager got her on Seroquel, which is no better. It got her dissociative disorder symptoms. It was scary to look at her one day and not being able to find an adequate child in her room. I really got scared, but it went away. And Sager said it was fine. So that's the year 2023. Sager knew everything about no violence at home, our complete love and unconditional acceptance of our child. Yet she stabbed us in the back. So our daughter was taken June 3rd. From the delivered service logs of CPS, I found out 4 or 5 months later, during my December testimony on the stand, I spent 15 hours at that, sent the referral to Jaco Stonewall Alliance Gender Affirming Clinic the following day. My daughter was snatched.
Before you go on,
unaddressed her mental issues. She just, what she did? She stabbed us.
And that is something I would like you to elaborate on a bit, because like I said, in very emotionally heightened conditions like these, the first step is to de-escalate the emotionality and to work towards unification, like Christine said. That with family therapy, it's a long-term process. The other thing is ODD, ADHD, those are all preconditions that could lead to a severe personality disorder, like borderline personality disorder. And like you said, the splitting takes place. Isn't it interesting though? But she tried, like you said, she tried to split you and your husband. Okay. That's her way of coping. I'm not approving of it. I'm just saying that's her default. Okay. But one would imagine that the system would be aware of this tendency to split. And typically they would be aware and they would not play into it. And they would resist playing into it and facilitating this splitting. But you see, where it comes to the sacred condition of transgenderism, sacred, in inverted commas, precautions tend to be thrown out the window. And with transgenderism, this splitting is oftentimes not only facilitated, but aggressively pursued. I'm not saying this is
encouraged. I encouraged. She confessed to me that she did encourage it.
Okay. Now, so she mentioned the LGBT issue early on, within those, after those 4 early sessions. And later on, you mentioned something about a pregnancy.
So it's already in CPS custody because California laws, right? They don't require from a foster parent to place a trans-identified girl in a bedroom to share with a biological male teen. But that's what the caretakers did. They placed her to share a bedroom with her classmate. And that's where she has been sleeping in the same bedroom on a bunk bed with this boy, her classmate, with the judge of dependency court in Shasta County, California, and the entire CPS calling her male name and pronouns From day one, they took her. It's happening right now. It's happening in court. It's happening in all reports that they, pack with lies and slander and humiliation. So they completely alienated her. They never wanted to work with us. They called us culturally unfit. In their amended petition dated September 5th last year, because we are culturally unfit as Ukrainians or East Europeans to raise our daughter in present day modern, West values. It's a legal paper that was accepted by Molly Beagle, the judge, who is woke and is calling her male name. They were forcing adoption because I saw the disposition report. It's like a huge 40 pages fat, disposition report, which came like 3 weeks before that cultural and fit thing came out. And Maggie, her classmate's mother, she eagerly desired to adopt my daughter, which is like a month and a half from the last day I saw my daughter. So basically it was an intentional forced adoption child trafficking scheme because Title 4E, it's a foster care funding from federal and state. It's just the more kids you snatch, the more money you get. The entire county right now knows about the case. I tried everybody you can think of, Douglas Malfa, Megan Dahle, Heather Hedwig, everybody in California, legislators, representatives. I tried BOS, which is board of supervisors. They all run away. They're so corrupt that they cannot lose this chain of supply of these kids that I see lawsuits. I'm uniting with parents where we run our own CPS group of support of parents. So it's just horrible how they accepted our witness expert of Indian origin from San Francisco, who is very expensive, really professional guy who came all the way down from Bay Area to testify, who did, diagnose her for BPD, who confirmed all these things and who said, no, you cannot affirm this suicidal, mentally fragile, the girl who simply went astray. You just have to give her like exploratory therapy. You have to reunite her with her parents. Do you think that happened? No. They started canceling visitations. Their PM manager, Shannon Anderson, which is like just a guest chamber coordinator in Nazi times, she neglected all the child's pleas to have only one supervisor. At that time, our daughter was still talking to us. But from her birthday, which is around the beginning of October last year, she hugged us last time. She made eye contact last time, and she took the gifts and warm things because it's chill in California right now. So she stopped taking warm things and bags from our hands. They made a lot of ambushes and setups at all possible physical interactions like medical visits, all hospitals, all mental institutions. They completely shut us off, and they immediately started working whenever a CPS worker footsteps onto the territory. They start working with them. So we are completely spent money, financially, mentally, morally. We had to be forced out of the county, out of the state, to hide in a red state because the judge works with them. The judge never dismissed the case. February 3rd, she removed all emotional abuse allegations. They were non-existent. She removed them, but she never gave us the custody of our daughter. She lasted that case till disposition ruling till the end of August. But meantime, domestic violence restraining orders were filed. We suspect that the caregivers forged our daughter's signature. We are working with a handwriting specialist. We could not take that anymore, that after 15 months, having lived in foster care, our daughter allegedly herself files DVROs and adds a physical abuse component into this. It doesn't make any sense. But the judge granted the hearing 3 weeks later. I was already in another state where I am right now. So we just could not take it anymore.
When last did you speak to your daughter?
Maybe beginning of April.
Beginning
through computer,
of April.
virtually.
And she's still on testosterone, as far as you know?
we don't know anything. We hope
Okay.
not. Right now she's 17, and I hope that CPS did not, or foster care did not give her, like some contraband, some like illegal. I cannot get control over that, but I have suspicion because I've seen in her behavior, even starting last July, which is the second month of her being in, so to say, care, that they could possibly use recreation drugs, for making her like a veggie, like a controllable tool. At some point, they started messing with her Zoloft. They canceled it cold turkey. And then they, through other facilities we paid for in South Cal, I don't know. It's an entire layer of a story. I don't know if it's worth talking about it. So they added a lot of heavier psychotropes like Abilify, like Trazodone, because they were preparing her for the testimony against us, and it just
Okay.
worked
Uh, uh,
wonderfully.
let me
Yeah.
ask you, Ellie, what has this been like for you as a mother? Tell us a little bit about that. As a mom, watching your daughter go through this and the suffering that you've been put through, your family's been put through, what's that like for you?
We are East European, stoic, polarly different people, and when it's so bleeding, we try not to, put some salt on the wound. So I don't have words to describe this. Let's put it this way, I try not to think about it and not to talk about it. I pray she will come back, and at all podcasts I've been doing on X with other wonderful people like yourselves, when they gave me like the last word to address her, maybe she hears us, I always say, I will always wait for you. We will always wait for you. Come, but without them, because
Sure.
we cannot do this anymore. We are bleeding. Your little brother is afraid to close his bedroom door after Nelson took her. Right now, for 20 months, we have been sleeping. Our both bedroom doors are open because he is very scared. And my husband has to work day and night to pay for these horrible attorney fees, travel costs. We had 2 attorneys betraying us. We fired them. We paid through $30,000 each. So it's just the dependency is such a horrible track that it's not winnable. They already redetained her, calling us abusers again because we allegedly left her in California. But we left to find, and we did find, a facility in this red state where I'm staying now. They dismissed that all. They pack their reports with lies, and right now they are terminating even reunification. They want her to stay forever, to wait probably till she ages out. We have no hope to regain her at this point. We spent around $500,000 and no result.
Jeez.
No result. We could
Wow.
have bought another home. We could have paid for another facility for her to detox from the cult. But the system probably got done so much damage to her that by all means they use every opportunity not to, make her go to us. And their methods are really Nazistic. That's horrible.
Sure. Look, Abilify is an atypical antipsychotic, and you said Trazodone. Trazodone helps with sleep, but it's also an antidepressant and anxiolytic. So the unstable mood is still persistent there, which is to be expected. But none of that actually does anything with borderline personality disorder. With that, you need proper psychotherapy.
That's right.
It's just, there's so much chaos. My goodness, there's so much chaos. And isn't it interesting where...
She is unaddressed. She is affirmed. They picked only a Vogue therapist because I'm reading through their horrible addendum reports, and that's something that they... So basically, they neglect her mental health. It's flourishing. The disorders are amplifying, and they are only affirming her. They're pushing her to the end of precipice, saying how good the jump down is going to feel. That's the basic impression we are getting.
So she is. So your daughter, when I, obviously I don't know her, but when she was young, she was bullied. So
Yes.
the people at school were the enemies.
Yes.
So she found herself in the middle of conflict from a very, very young age. Look at this now. Yes. Same process in a conflicted situation with a demonized other. That's a split. A demonized other
Yes.
against whom she's fighting. You became the bullies now.
Yes, we are criminals. We are her
Mm.
enemies. And she calls us now biological parents. That never happened before. At her recent emancipation hearing that she also filed, but it was denied, she called us Mr. and Mrs. That's so distant. It felt so cold at the recent hearing that we were present virtually. She is, I don't know where she's at. She's being kicked out of the school without parental consent, without parental notification. They just draw those attendance green squares. The principal is absolutely working in cahoots with the CPS Mafia. She messes with her attendance. I'm taking screenshots, that's all I can say, but she says that she's so good that she's able to graduate this December, either for the reason of pregnancy or abortion. And basically with us right now going public after what we heard on November 3rd on that detention hearing.
Is she still pregnant now?
We don't know. We only saw some Quest lab blood results that came for us to co-pay. So we are required to pay, but we are not entitled to know by the
Wow.
California laws. So I received a very
Wow.
strange bill from Quest in June with no description of services. And when I went ahead and called Quest Lab, they dictated me what exactly was done. So apart from a general urine and blood test, there was also ACG test,
Yes.
which is, you know what
Yes.
it stands for. It's a
The
hormonal
pregnancy hormone.
pregnancy
Yes.
hormone. And I had them send this email and I had them repeat on my phone that it's a test to confirm pregnancy.
Yes.
The test was taken March 10th. Today is December 10th. A lot of indirect signals to me that those Abilifies, Jaco, the Prestige, the Trazodone, Ritalin that she was taking, only Ritalin, and they changed it from Prestige to Paxil, only 2 things she's taking right now because we are present at some phone medication management appointments with CPS clinic I don't trust, but I have no choice. So something is showing, and the school wants to get rid of her, and some CPS emails showing that probably she will be housed in a different place. She's becoming very uncomfortable with us starting trumpeting about it. Your podcast, other podcast, posting on Facebook. They're calling us inflammatory. They're calling us abusers. It's a lot of things that they use against us, one-sided, slandering, libeling. They never wanted to work with us. She came to get the therapy and for those foster carers who eagerly wanted to adopt her and sign the testosterone and other consents. So that is a plan that they're trying to pursue. We don't know
Let me
what's
ask you
awaiting
this.
us. We don't know.
Okay.
This is, like I said, this is a lot of chaos and you're right in the middle. You're in the eye of the storm. How are you as parents surviving?
Ukrainian spirit, humor, dark humor, making dark or light or funny crippled jokes, recording some allegoric mocking videos about them and posting them on our YouTube channel, running a parents against Shasta County CPS and Beyond group that we are very supportive and welcoming other parents, trying to file a lawsuit against them and looking for a good attorney to help us on a federal level, doing these things. Almost all the time we talk, we have each other. We have each other. They try to split us. Even Nelson, on the day of removal, she tried to split us. They all did. It never happened. We are Ukrainians and we have a strong core of experience of survival because, wars and Soviet Union, we are different psychology. They're trying to use against us. They don't know us and they never wanted to learn about us, even us trying to help them. So it's their, I'm sorry, cognitive ability level versus ours. Again, using AI technology, a lot of analytical skills, a lot of our own education levels. So it's all together, not isolating, reaching out to people.
Yes.
Investing heavily
Support, in
into
other
our
words.
sons' education and well-being, traveling, looking at places.
Ellie, like I said, these are difficult times. There's no guarantee. No one can predict what
Yeah.
the future holds.
Yeah.
And when the future is uncertain as yours is, what we need to focus on is our own survival. And I think that is what you are doing, you and your husband and your son. It's terrible to listen to this story, and we can just hope for the best outcome possible.
And to keep talking and to keep connecting with other people who understand, who are support networks for you and for your family. And hopefully that lightens some of the burden that is placed on your heart. It alleviates, hopefully, some of the heaviness, even for a moment.
Yeah.
To continue to rely on those structures of support that you've built.
Can I quote our General Zaluzhny, who might become the next president of Ukraine, who is the UK ambassador in London right now? We run, me and my husband, as Ukrainians, as warriors. By the way, we have his awards with his signature awarded to my husband for bringing drones and helping. We financed 4 containers of medical equipment, our nonprofit, to Ukraine. So we were always proud Ukrainians. And his phrase that should be cited as our motto, it runs this way. It might be hard, we might be facing hardships, but we will never be embarrassed and ashamed of ourselves.
Wow.
No matter how hard it's going to be. That's how we run. That's how we wake up and how we go to bed, because we have this little beautiful boy and we look him in the eye and we don't want to feel embarrassed that we haven't done enough. And sounds like we're jumping over ourselves, over beyond our possibilities, but we are not stopping because she's our girl.
Unashamed to have braved the dark.
Yes, thank you. I love it so much. Thank you for putting it beautiful.
It's very inspirational.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time, Ellie. Thank you very much indeed.